Welcome to the Maxwell Leadership Executive Podcast, where our goal is to help you increase your reputation as a leader, increase your ability to influence others, and increase your ability to fully engage your team to deliver remarkable results. Hi, I'm Perry Holly, a Maxwell Leadership facilitator and coach.
And I'm Chris Goede, Executive Vice President with Maxwell Leadership. Welcome and thank you for joining. As we get started today, I want to remind you to go to maxwellleadership.com/podcast, click on this podcast, and you'll be able to find a form there that you can fill out. If you have a question for Perry or I that you'd love for us to discuss on an upcoming podcast, you want to download the Learner Guide. Yes, Perry.
Yes, please.
Perry, we were just talking about where we're at. We have a very exciting episode coming here in the near future, a milestone for us. And so Perry's always willing to take help on the topics.
Very teachable.
And we don't need the principles. Just give him the topic. He'll figure out the rest of it.
I got the principles.
We'll go from there. So please visit that, fill out that form. Well, today's topic is titled Mastering the Art of Delegation. As we often do around here, this is about some coaching calls that you've been having. It's been a lot of conversations with multiple different levels of leaders. And so we're going to dive into that in just a minute. But I want you to hear me say that because, again, we talk about this. This is just real stuff that we're hearing, that we're dealing with, and we want to be able to share that with you. Well, leaders who can master this art of delegation, man, if you can figure that out, you're going to be able to unleash your team's potential, and you're going to be able to develop strategies for distributing work and decision-making throughout the team in a much more effective way.
Yes, this is from several coaching calls in the last few months. It comes up quite a bit. I think it comes from a good place in people's and leaders' hearts. They want to be valuable. They want to add value to the team. But here's what I've had. I said, I have a problem. I think I can do it all. Yeah. And I absolutely positively cannot, but I don't invite others to join me in that. And that why should I do this? I'm not great at everything, but I have team members that are. I used to think that trying to be good at everything was good leadership, that I should be able to master all these things on our team, all these different roles, that I should be able to do those. And then I realized that's not good leadership. That's probably more management and not leading. What I have learned is that good leaders know what they're bad at, or less. I mean, bad sounds like a negative word, but less talented at. They find people who are excellent at those things, the things that I cannot do well. I know people on my team who can. I've hired it that way. And I just wonder how I know that's why you brought me in.
100%. Like this, I think you're talking right to me. I think this is something that in my leadership journey, I struggle with, and I have to continually think about it and work on it. And so the art of this that we're going to talk about today is very helpful for me personally. And as I was reflecting back on this, and we were talking about, why is it such a challenge for me? You think about the control side of things, and some of the things you shared with as you were kind of opening right there, right? The perfectionism. Well, it's got to be done, right, and I'm just going to do it. The time invested in the skill development of other people. I just don't have time. And you begin to tell yourself these stories, and then you don't end up delegating, and you end up doing it yourself.
Well, you have a much bigger problem. Yeah, I'll give you a diagnosis.
Wait a minute. What are we talking about here?
And this is true for a lot of people listening to this. And the guy that I'm coaching right now that's got the biggest problem, this is his problem too. You are a really good person. Yeah. You care a lot about your team. You care a lot about me personally. I know you do. And you sometimes, and I do this too. I take on, I said, I don't want to burden you.
Right.
I know how busy you are. I can take this from you.
Right.
And I thought, no. And then you teach this, I've heard you teach this about doing the things that only you can do. And so instead of you doing the things that only you can do and putting it on me or the others on the team to do what only things we can do, you tend to take things off their plate and it's from a great place in your heart. You just want other things you said can be true as well. But I know for many of it is not, I can just do it better. I can just do it faster. It is,
I got it.
You're overworked. Yeah, the team's overworked. I got it.
But when I do that, and when leaders do that, right, what we're doing is back as we opened up and I said, hey, when you can figure this out, you're going to unleash the potential of your team.
Yes.
How powerful is that statement that I am or other leaders are missing out on unleashing that power of the potential of that team. That's a powerful statement instead of me just, let me just protect you from it, right?
Yeah.
And the great ones, I read this statement, the great ones have a mindset of empowering, right? There's a difference a little bit between delegating and empowering. Empowering others and recognize the long-term benefit. So we're talking about unleashing the potential of your team and the long-term benefit of mastering this art of delegation. That's the key.
Yeah, and this idea of you said something in last week's podcast. I thought about it later. Was about we were talking about accountability. You said that you had a statistic said that it's like 70+% of people want to be held accountable.
Yeah.
When you were just talking, I thought the same thing here is that I want you to assign me stuff. I want you to take stuff off of your plate. And we teach this in our 360 leader is that for me to lead up to my leaders, I need to take something, lighten your load, take something off your plate, and so that you can go forward and do the bigger things that only you can do. So there's a bit of a relationship here between the delegator and the delegatee, is that I really want you to delegate to me because one, it says you trust me, and one, it says that you believe in me, and that I can then also, I can lighten your load and I can make you more effective as a leader in the organization. It really is a beautiful thing. But we're all so busy trying to protect each other or, protect our, I don't want to show my weakness. I can do everything. There's all kinds of things going on. I think about a definition of delegation really around, it starts with admitting where I'm not so great, admitting my weaknesses, plus finding people who excel in the areas where I am weak, plus giving the task away. And the big truth is that when I learn to delegate, far better. It's like long term. It's an investment in learning how to get better and at more things getting done, and that there needs to be some intention around preparing people to receive. Just like you were saying that I'm long term. I'm setting you up for success down the road.
I think that this is something that if you can develop a little system and a process, some don't have any challenges with it, but if you do. That it'll help you, it'll help the team, and long-term benefits will skyrocket. And so we're going to give you a couple steps that will help you kind of develop that process and what that looks like. So the first step one is, and Perry mentioned this just a minute ago, we talk a little bit about this inside our team, which is what are the things that you should be empowering and delegating others to be doing on your team? What does that look like? And then you got to back up from there and say, well, what are the things that only I can do for the team? And so you got to spend some time thinking about this and write them out and be true to those statements. And then you go, okay, this is my bucket. Okay, now here's the next group of things that I have on here. What team member has the skill set to be able to really dive in and make this well? And back to your point a minute ago, I think when we go about doing this, not only do they want to be held accountable and be a part of this, but it also makes them feel connected to the team. I think of a team member, that I have where when I'm not handing out things, it feels like there is a disconnect from us versus saying, hey, no, I need to help with this. But you got to start with making sure that what is it that only you can do for the team or the organization? And then let's look at the others on that list to see which team can come in and work that problem for you or that skill set.
Hey, podcast listeners. Many of you listening right now would probably love the autonomy that comes with owning your own business or becoming a coach that helps other businesses succeed. Well, we have a phenomenal strategy where you are 100% in control of your own business, earning income on your own terms, and have access to the people, tools, and resources you need to build a thriving leadership development business. When you become a Maxwell Leadership Certified team member, you join a global community of entrepreneurs led by our expert team of mentors and faculty, including John C. Maxwell. You'll also get one of the top leadership certifications in the world next to your name, giving you the boost you need to get started. Visit us online at maxwellleadership.com/join the team to find out more.
Another thing I think maybe step 2 would be giving clear instruction. What I'm thinking mostly here is about including the why. I'm asking you to carry this forward for me. And the instruction could be about why are we doing this? Maybe maybe you're training them. One of my best leaders I ever had worked for, he liked to, I didn't know it at the time. Now looking back at my knowledge level now where I am, he didn't just give me anything to go and do. He would say, I want you to go figure this out and come back and tell me what you would do. A bit of a training to see what's my thinking like.
Yeah.
And he would then give me feedback on my thinking. Over time, he might say, I want you to go develop the direction we should go, and then perhaps take the first step and come back and tell me what you did. It was a progression of, as he was training me to take things off his plate, to delegate to the team. He didn't just say, go handle this, because that's a recipe for disaster, to do that. So, I think why this is hard, thinking, well, this makes perfect sense, figure out what you need to delegate, give them some instruction. Why is this hard? Well, it takes a little time. It could be easier to do it myself. By the time I could tell you, I could just have it done. But then, so, well, then why would you do it? Well, you already gave the answer. It's an investment for the future. The more I develop you to be able to take things off the plate, to move the ball forward, doing the things that only you can do, I can focus on only things I can do. And now we start to build momentum. And you're going to stall momentum if we're always with busy work and putting out fires and everybody doing only everybody's business. It's not going to work.
Yeah, the why is so key to your point. I know that anytime I am asked to take on a project, to take on something that's delegated to me, if I can understand the why behind it and then how that ties to the team or how it ties to the organization as a whole and where we're going, it makes it so much easier on me to buy into that because I can connect the dots. By the way, also when you're delegating these responsibilities, these oftentimes won't just be an individual contribution. They're going to need a team. They're going to need to put together, cross-functional team. They're going to need to tap into different resources. They need to be able to communicate the why as well while they're building out their teams to be able to do that. And so I think you got to definitely communicate that why as one of the first key things. Well, step number 3, as you think about building this process to help you develop this art of delegation, is set the expectations about exactly what you want them to do and how much authority do they have, right? Like, should they check in with you before taking this next step? I like what one of your leaders said, hey, do this, then come back and tell me what you would do,
That's
right?
What he was doing,
he was setting that clear expectations. And then, or, maybe are they free to the 10-80-10 around here, hey, 10%, 80%, you just keep running, come back to the last 10%, whatever it might be. Now, this is hard for leaders to do this though, because I think a lot of times we make a lot of assumptions around the qualities or the skill sets of our people. And so we go, we're making an assumption here that they already know what I want, right? Or we're making an assumption that, they have the ability to be accountable and to run this task out by themselves. They're going to execute on it. We make a lot of assumptions. And so it's really hard by doing that. We go, no, I'm just not going to delegate it because I'm making it. They don't understand it. They don't get it. And so we make an assumption, and we don't need to be doing that. We need to be having conversations and set clear expectations on the front end, and that'll help with that.
Just following on that step 4, I think would be more like check in and follow up. And so based on, like you said, the level of authority that you granted, so what you asked them specifically to do, follow up on how those things went and where improvement may be needed. I love it. I always thought about it as checking their thinking.
I like that a lot.
Go do this, come back and tell me what you would do. Go figure this out. Take a first step and come back and tell me what you did. I'm looking to see how are you thinking the way I want you thinking? Are you thinking properly about this? Are you expanding your perspective and are you seeing things in light of the bigger picture, or are you just heads down? I want to project your thinking. But one thing I want to really encourage our listeners here is think feedback not micromanage.
Yeah.
Is that the worst thing you can do is, hey, I gave you that. What did you do? I'm going to go with you and see how you did. Let me go help you present. No, I'm not micromanaging you. I'm giving you freedom to go execute at the authority level that we talked about. And then I want to come back and follow up. How did that go? What worked? What didn't work? What could you have done differently? What would you do differently the next time? Okay, now I can hear your thinking, correct your thinking, coach your thinking. Now I'm building somebody I can develop too.
Yeah.
So why is that hard? Well, again, it takes time. It's everything is an investment here. I'm investing in the future of this person's contribution to the team. Their investment as a developing team member goes back to something we talked in previous weeks about a culture of growth that really feeds into this quite a bit.
That's good. Well, step number 5 is recognize good work and ask for their feedback. So we're just talking about giving feedback. I think this is essential. They're going to be closest to the project. And so you do need their feedback. What are they seeing? What are they feeling? What are they hearing? What's going on? But make sure on the front end of what I just said, make sure you're recognizing when you see them doing good things. Matter of fact, I would even encourage you, when appropriate, recognize them in front of others. And do so with specific examples.
Yes.
Hey, I asked Perry to lead this project for me. And let me just tell you where they're at and the status. And man, I'm so proud of Perry and the team are doing because of these 3 things. Not just general, right? Because the team needs to hear those specifics. Why is this hard? I think it's hard because of pride. I think a lot of leaders have a hard time acknowledging, hey, Perry did that project better than I did. Yeah. Or, and you give up that I'm the only one that can provide around here. I can fix those problems. And so I think there's a pride and ego that happens in there.
How secure are you as a leader?
Yeah,
do you have
that's
a personal insecurity?
Yeah.
Reminds me of, I always ask, I've been doing this a lot lately in workshops and speeches, but asking the leaders, do you want to see your business, your department, your organization run without you? Or would you like to see it run because of you?
I love that statement.
And, they know the answer should be, I want to stay at work without me, but it goes back to how secure are you? Like, if it runs without me, you won't need me.
Yeah.
No, that's not it. But I always ask, what does a leader that builds a department where it works without them? So if you step away, everything still works. On that, I asked them to come up with a list, and the list always includes the art of delegation. Yeah. I move work to people who can do it better than me, faster than me, more effectively than me, and I am now free to step back. I'm not needed for everything to happen to do that.
Yep. Well, listen, as we wrap up, let me comment on what you just said, and then I'll give you a closing thought. Isn't it true that no matter your role inside an organization, how important it is when people step away, they resign, they all of a sudden, don't show up for work, the organization goes on, right? Like somebody fills your role in a heartbeat. And so just be aware of that as you're thinking through that. Some closing thoughts for you. I think as leaders, as we think about this, and these are just some of my raw thoughts and thinking about becoming better at the art of delegation. I think to optimize productivity for our team, to develop those that are on our team, and to really achieve the strategic objectives that funnel up to the top of the organization, you have to do this. You have to do this. You can't do it by yourself.
Agree.
And you got to have a team with you. And John says, if you want to do something, successful, do it by yourself. If you want to do something significant, then do it with a group of people. Right. And what that means is you got to understand, you got to empower and give them ownership and responsibility through delegation to be able to do that. And we need to really allow our leaders to focus on the right tasks and get dialed in on that. Because I know, to your point earlier, like sometimes I'm doing things and I'm like, man, I should really be focused on 3 other things than doing this task. And so what's happening there? That is, not only am I not unleashing the potential of our team, but I'm also withholding what our team could be accomplishing in the organization as a whole. And so we need to make sure that we are focused on the right task as leaders and then figure out the art of delegation for the others.
Perfect. And John also says if someone can do something 80% as well as you, give it to them, they'll figure out the other 20.
That's good.
As you go. Great stuff. Reminder, if you'd like to have the learner guide for this issue, learn about our offerings, or leave us a question or a comment, you can do all of that at maxwellleadership.com/podcast. We love hearing from you. We're very grateful you'd spend this time with us. That's all today from the Maxwell Leadership Executive Podcast.